Hey brothers and sisters, Francis Seneros here, just bringing a word today. I was in the gym and working out, and God just kind of put something on my heart, and I just thought I'd talk about it. And it's going to be in Hebrews 12, and it goes like this. And this is kind of a message for you people who have been watching and hoping and believing, and you're disappointed because of because of the delay. You know, it's funny, the other day I woke up and I heard a song, and anybody who's a little bit older would remember the song Snoopy, and he's singing, "Hang on, Snoopy, Snoopy, hang on," and it was just so cool. It actually had a double meaning for me. In my trial, he's like, hang on, it's gonna be okay. And also, it was like he was telling me, hang on, I'm coming. Just hang on. It was really cool. So I sent it to a friend of mine, was like, hey, check this out. So in this thing we're doing, you know, it's not on our time schedule. You know, it isn't. But hold on, I'm looking at my... Okay, I'm still... I thought it wasn't recording, but it is. And... you know, I know you guys want to go, and well, I'm just going to read because I just need to read. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us. And look at what that says here. Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us. It's an easy process. I mean, if you look at what Paul's saying here, he's saying, you know, you got to lay those things aside because they will easily ensnare you. And it's, like I always say, it's so subtle, a lot of times you don't notice it happening. And let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. You got to think of this thing that we're doing, it's like a marathon. And we're on the last leg of the marathon. You know, have you ever... and be careful how I'm doing this, but have you ever seen people when they're running marathons and they're really close to the end? They might be, you know, a couple of maybe a mile from the end, and they look terrible. I mean, they look like they can barely stand up. Sometimes they just look bad. But they're hanging in there, you know. They're hanging in there. You don't cross the finish line if you give up. He's saying here, hey, run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. See, just focus on that. Jesus endured the cross for us. So I know you guys want to go. I know how it is. I do. I understand. Just keep looking at the cross. He's saying, you know, when everything else around you is crumbling down, when your world seems like, you know, it's just a mess and you can't take it anymore and you're done. You're just done. Focus on the cross. Just focus on the cross. Focus on what Jesus did on the cross. And he endured the cross. Focus on Jesus enduring the cross. And if he could endure the cross, surely you can go through what you're going through, because it's nothing compared to what he did for you. So think of it like that. And I think Paul's just saying, hey, if you think of it like that, it'll put it in perspective, and that'll help you be able to get through this thing you're going through. Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. And see, that's where a lot of people are right now. They've become weary and discouraged. You know, I hear, look, man, I get the comments coming in, and I see some videos, and people are like, I'm just done. I'm done. I'm so weary. I'm so done. I just want to go home. And I want to encourage y'all, that's just the wrong attitude. It's just the wrong attitude. And don't get me wrong. It's like, I'm not trying to be arrogant or holier than you or higher than anybody, because I know what that feels like. I do. I do. And it's not good. But if you consider Jesus, if you consider what Jesus did on the cross, what he's saying here is, hey, it will help you get through this thing. It will help you. So don't become weary and discouraged in your souls. He says, you have not yet resisted to bloodshed, striving against sin. So, look, that doesn't even need an explanation. You haven't gone through anything close to what Jesus went through. What Paul's telling me is, he's saying, come on, get over it. It's not that bad. I know it might seem like it's really bad, but you haven't endured anything unto bloodshed like Jesus did. So come on. Pick yourself up. Let's go. Let's get out there and do what we're supposed to do. You know, we're here for a purpose. There's people out there that don't even know Jesus. You know, how bad have we really got it? We're saved. We're saved. We're not going to hell. Okay? We're not homeless. You know, it's okay. No matter how bad it seems, it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. Not considering the people that are unsaved. They might be living in mansions, but they're unsaved. They got it way worse than we do. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks to you as to sons. My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by him. Hello? Do not despise his chastening, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by him. For whom the Lord loves, he chastens. I like that. And scourges every son whom he receives. That's that winnowing lesson I did the other day. I mean, we're all going to go through it. We're all going to go through it. God's looking to purge stuff out of us. You know, it's like gold. You know, the Bible constantly refers to us like gold. How do you do gold? Well, you heat it up. And when you heat it up, all the imperfection rises to the top. Well, what is that to us? Those are the trials that we go through. These trials you're going through are designed to bring to the surface little things that your Father wants you to deal with, so he can, they take the dross and they scrape it away. They let it cool down. Right? Your trial, God handles your trial for you. He takes care of it. Cools down. Everything gets going okay. And then he heats it up again. And when he heats it up, more impurities rise to the top. See, and it's a process, man. Life is a process. You know, and I don't care if you've been in this thing for 25, 30 years. You know I've been doing it a long time, and I ain't perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I'm human, but I know one thing. I want to do better. And if I mess up, I'll repent. I'll be the first one to admit it. Hey man, I messed up. I'm sorry. And just, we move on. You know, we deal with stuff and we move on. One thing you don't want to do is dwell on it. You know, you can't have that, oh, poor me, let me just eat some worms and die attitude. You got to just deal with your stuff and move on. It's okay. It's going to be all right. He is coming. He told me, hang on, Snoopy. Hang on. All right. If you endure chastening, God deals with you as with sons. For what son is there whom a father does not chasten? Right? Are we sons of God? We sure are. But if you are without chastening, of which all have become partakers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Furthermore, we have had human fathers who corrected us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much more readily be in subjection to the Father of spirits and live? For they indeed for a few days chastened us as seemed best to them, but he for our profit, that we may be partakers of his holiness. Now, no chastening seems to be joyful at the present, but painful. See, what we're going through, it's not fun, but it's necessary. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So there's the lesson today. Hey, I know what you're going through sucks. I got my own thing, all right? I understand it. But I also understand that when you get through it, on the other side, what does he say here? It yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. And that's the lesson today. When you're going through your trial, try to have the best attitude about it. You know, I know that for me, I'm teaching martial arts, and I have kids. I have a lot of kids. Martial arts nowadays is done mainly by children. Hello. I'd much prefer to teach an adult. They're so much easier. But because kids they have all these little personalities, and it's tricky. It's real tricky. And, you know, and you want to be strict without being mean. And there's a fine line there, you know, because martial arts is very disciplined, and it's real. You got to be real careful. I always say that a monkey can teach an adult, but very few people can teach children well. And I do this thing where, you know, in martial arts, they give out belts every time the kids learn or get to a new level. They learn a bunch of material, and then they'll take a test to go up to a new level. And every now and then, they're not ready. You know, they don't pass. I don't send them to the test to fail them. I don't do it like that. What I do is I do what's called a pretest. They have to pass the pretest, and then they're eligible to take the test. So I kind of pass or fail them there at the pretest. I don't want to embarrass them at the test. I don't like to fail people at the test, but I do it at the pretest. It's pretty much the same thing. They just don't realize it because no one else is watching. It's just me and them instead of in front of everybody in the big ceremony. That's embarrassing. So I qualify them right there. And what happens is sometimes they're not ready. They're playing around too much. They weren't serious. And all of a sudden the realization comes, the test is coming up. They want to take their test because they want to be with everybody else, and they fail. But I always give them a second chance. I'll tell them, I'll say, look, it's not good enough. You're not strong. You're not doing this. You're not. I'll give them maybe 3 or 4 points. You got to fix this, 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 and this. Go back there. We got 40 minutes till the end of class. You go back there and you work hard. You do it. And you practice those things, and I'll give you another chance. And I'm watching them the whole time, and I'm usually watching their attitude. You know, sometimes they'll go back and just bam, 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 just practice real hard and do all the moves. And if they come up and I see significant improvement, I'll pass them. But sometimes they turn into little snots, and they whine, and they complain, and their attitude's bad, and I won't pass them. Most of the time, it's about their attitude. Their attitude more than anything else. If they go back there with a good attitude and try their best, most of the time I'm going to pass them, unless it's just like they aren't even close. But I wouldn't have sent them back there with the hope of doing it unless they were close. So it's all about their attitude. And think about it, those of you that have kids. When your kids have a bad attitude, do you want to do anything special for them? Heck no. So it's the same way with us. When we're doing this thing, our Father is watching our attitude. We got to have a good attitude about what we're doing, the trial that we're in. Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, it's not fun. What does he say here? Now, no chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but it's painful. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness. See, God's trying to bring out righteousness in us. What does the Bible say? We are the righteousness of God in Yeshua HaMashiach. All right? It's that righteousness of God He's trying to cultivate in us. That's what I'm looking for. Cultivate. We're like gold. We're 10 karat gold, and He's trying to get us to 24 karat gold. And He's going to use trials to do it. Unfortunately, there's just no other way to do it. This is the process that He uses. All right? So don't look at your trial begrudgingly. Don't look down on it, but go through it with a good attitude. You know, just like He says here, He uses that example, the metaphor of, look, your Father corrected you, and you accepted that. He says, have the same attitude towards your Father in heaven, who loves you, whose purpose of this trial is to produce in you the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. That's us. That's us. So that was our lesson today. I'm getting into these shorter lessons, quicker, faster. I had one person write in and said, thank you for that short lesson. You know, I can imagine it's hard to follow along with a 40-minute lesson. We're busy, all right? So I'm gonna try and quicken them up a little bit. But I do have a quick story. It's another Taekwondo story. So I'm 19. I have just gotten to Texas. I had been here for a little while, but I just opened my school, and I had only been teaching for a couple of months. And I had this adult that I was teaching who had a really bad attitude. He had a really bad attitude, and I had a full class, and it was sparring, and he was hurting people in sparring. Not really bad, but, you know, he was kind of being a bully. And, you know, I'm 19, and I think he was like probably 32, 33, something like that. So he's a man, and I'm this young kid. And so I was going to spar with him because I didn't want him hurting anybody. And I'm beating him up. I'm beating him up, but you know, I'm beating on him a little bit. I'm hitting him, you know. I'm kind of embarrassing him. This little punk kid, he came from another school. He was a black belt that came from another school. And, you know, they always think that they're so tough. You know, and they don't realize it. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. You know, it's hard to humble yourself, especially with, he came into the school and here's this young 19-year-old kid teaching. So I know what they're thinking. And I'm always trying to be real respectful of people like that. But, dude, you have no idea what you're getting into here. So I was embarrassing him, and I had him up against the wall, and I was just kind of working his body over, pop, 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 just tagging him all over the place. Here, with my hands. I love to box a lot. And I heard this scuffle going on behind me because I got some kids in the class. You know, there was a pretty big class, and I turned around to see what was going on, and I saw two kids that were kind of playing. So I was going to address that situation, tell them to get up. They were kind of wrestling on the floor because, you know, kids are kids. And when I did that, he got so mad because I was embarrassing him. He, like, hooked his leg around me and tripped me down, you know, because I had my back to him. I didn't see what he was doing. It's like if somebody walks up behind you and trips your foot and pushes you. And so when I fell, I flipped over immediately because it all happened in slow motion. This is what the human mind is remarkable, because when he did it, I thought to myself, and the length of time it took me to fall on the ground, like, boom, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did he just trip me? Is this guy insane? You've got to be kidding me. Flip over on your back. I flip over on my back, and he's like lunging at me like this, like he's going to jump on top of me. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are you stupid? Really? You're really going to do this? So I pushed him with my feet on his chest and pushed him up and jumped up in one motion. I pushed him and jumped up into a jump 360 reverse back kick. And I'm in the air, in midair, spinning around in midair. And this is what's, and it happens that fast. It's that fast. Jump, boom, that you kick him that fast. So in that length of time, this is what goes through my head. You stupid idiot. I cannot believe you did that. I'm going to smash you in the face. I am going to kick you in the face so hard. Pause. And there's a pause. And then I look around and I notice there's kids on the floor. And then I think, you can't kick him in the face. How's that going to look for you? That's going to look terrible. If you kick him in the face, my gosh, you could kill him. No, I'm not going to kick him in the face. Okay, I'm going to kick him in the chest and knock the wind out of him. That's it. I'm going to kick you in the chest and I'm going to knock the wind out of you, and you're going to fall down gasping for air, and then I'm going to stand over you and scold you. In that length of time, all those thoughts went through my head, and bam, I hit him, and he's on the ground, gasping for air, and I'm standing over him, scolding him. And it was just kind of funny. But it's like, it happened in a split second. All those thoughts went through my head like that. Even the pause, and I noticed all the kids that were there watching. Everybody was, the entire school was watching. I'm like, no, you can't do that. That would look bad for you. Okay, just kick him in. And it happened like that. And I thought, wow, that's amazing how fast the human mind is. Because I'm telling you, it's probably less than a half a second. And that move is actually going to be performed. And all those thoughts. So anyways, that was it. I scolded him. It was funny. Hey, I'll talk to y'all later. Quick message today. Bye.